Ever since the system was first unveiled, I've been pretty much on the fence about whether or not I wanted to get the Wii U. It just happened to be on sale the other day, and I had the money for it, so I decided, why not just get it now? I mean, I knew I was going to be getting one eventually to play the next Smash Brothers anyway. Let's see, I got the black 32 gig model that came bundled with New Super Mario Bros. U and Luigi U, because that was all there at my store. I mean, they were sold out of the Wind Waker bundle, and either my store just doesn't carry the basic white model with Nintendo Land bundle, or Nintendo discontinued that model, because I don't really see that one anywhere, like available for any other stores or anything, but I don't know. Anyways, this isn't a review or a really long analysis of the system or anything. I do have a Wii U. I've spent a good chunk of time with it, and I'm just here to kind of tell you how it went. So, yeah, if you're on the fence about getting one like me, I'm just kind of giving my own impression of it, just so you can take from it what you will. And yeah, I hope you enjoy. I guess I'll start by talking about the Gamepad Controller itself. I've used it a few times at demo kiosks before I got the system, but I never really had enough time to get used to the controller. And now that I have had more time with it, I can say that its looks are definitely really deceiving. I mean, sure, the controller looks really big and intimidating, but it's surprisingly really comfortable to use. I mean, there are times where I even forget that I'm holding the huge thing just because it looks and it feels like a regular controller thanks to the button placement. I mean, Nintendo just knows how to make a damn good controller. Seriously, don't be afraid of this thing just because it's so big. It feels a lot better to use than it looks. The buttons just feel so natural and everything. Just give it enough time and you'll forget how big and awkward this thing looks just because it feels so natural. It feels like a normal controller after enough time. I mean, there are a few buttons that I feel are awkwardly placed, like the right analog stick and the D-pad, and then there's the top shoulder buttons. But I find myself having to look down at the controller to see where they are, but I haven't really played any games that utilize those buttons exclusively that often yet, so I probably still just need some time to adjust to them. This isn't really an issue with the actual system or anything. It's just something I'm still trying to get used to. I just feel like those buttons aren't quite as natural to use as like the left analog stick and the four face buttons. They just don't come as easily for me, but I don't know. It could be different for other people. I think it's absolutely amazing that this controller has a built-in webcam, a microphone, and a high-quality picture touchscreen. I could definitely see the potential for voice or video chat when playing online games with friends, and I really hope Nintendo makes full use of these features for the likes of Mario Kart and Smash Brothers along with other online games. I might or might not get a Pro controller at some point, but I don't have one at the moment, so I can't really comment on how that one works in comparison. I thought I would want to get a Pro controller right away before I even got the system, but after playing with the gamepad for a while, I'm not so sure I still want one. I mean, the gamepad really just works that well. Because the Wii U is set up to my own personal television in my room, I really haven't had much of a reason to try the off-screen play, since the TV isn't used for anything other than games, so I can't really comment on how this feature works, and I can't really say I'll make much use of it either, so I don't know, it could be different for other people, but I just haven't had much of a reason to use it. I'm just really impressed with the Gamepad Screen, though, above all else. I know this might not sound like a big deal about what I'm going to say, but I absolutely love how well the controller replicates the TV screen perfectly. I mean, there's never any sort of lag with either input or output, and even the sound is just so excellently aligned with the television that the only way you can hear sound from the TV is by muting the gamepad's volume. I mean, it's impossible to tell where the sound is coming from otherwise. They're just that perfectly in sync with each other. And not only that, but you can essentially play entire games like New Super Mario Bros. U just watching the gamepad and never even looking up at the TV once. I mean, there's never any feeling as though you're missing something by looking down at the controller instead. And that was my biggest worry about this, is I worried that if I looked down at the gamepad too much, that I'd be missing something on screen on the television, but that's just not the case. I mean, it's the exact same thing whether you look up at the game, whether you look down at the gamepad or up the TV. You can pretty much just choose your preference. I mean, when you're playing at the gamepad, it feels like you're playing a handheld, but then when you're playing on the television, it just feels like you're playing a regular game, and it's amazing how well you can do both experiences, and it never feels like you're detracting from anything. I'm just so impressed that the gamepad is able to produce this quality emulation like this without any sort of drop in quality at any time, and all of this is going on over a wireless connection. That just blows my mind. Again, this might not seem like a big deal to you. You might not really fully understand what I'm talking about here, but I think I'm really starting to understand what kind of innovation Nintendo was going for here with the whole double screen thing. I mean, it feels like the Wii U is walking the fine line between being a home console and a handheld system at the same time. I mean, the technology here isn't as drastically different as, say, the Wii Remote and the motion controls were, so it still feels like you're playing a traditional gaming system. But having the touchscreen and being able to play it like it were a handheld at the same time if you really wanted to, I think that's what really sets the Wii U apart from the PS4 and the Xbox One. I mean, Nintendo proved with the DS that they have perfected like dual screen gameplay. They've had that going from the DS all the way through to the 3DS, and now they're doing this. Nintendo knows how to make dual screen gameplay work, and I think the Wii U is just the next step in that regard. I don't know what they'll do after the Wii U, if they'll still incorporate two screens, but this definitely feels like it feels similar to the DS and everything, but at the same time, it feels like it's a bit of an upgrade, like it's taking the next step in innovation to me. That's just how I honestly feel about it. Like, I'm just really impressed with the gamepad. It has honestly amazed me more than I thought it would. But getting away from the gamepad, when you get your Wii U, don't expect to be playing games right away when you get out of the box. The first time setup process has a lot of steps to go through before you even see the home screen, and that's not including the process of making a Nintendo Network ID. And on top of that, there's a huge mandatory system update that took almost 2 hours to download and install when I first set up my system. The whole process was pretty tedious, but thankfully you really only have to go through it once. The actual home interface on the Wii U is pretty reminiscent of the Wii. It has the whole channel system, and you can pretty much pick from the menu where you want to go. But it has a lot more features and options to mess around with and explore with. The system does have some loading times, and when you're navigating around all the modes and applications, they can feel a little bit long, but I got used to it pretty quickly, so these loading times don't really bother me much anymore. I think you pretty much get used to them after a while. I absolutely love that Nintendo finally got rid of their friend code system. Instead, you just get to create a Nintendo Network ID, which is pretty much your gamer tag. It's your own personal account on the system, and you can add friends by searching up their names, and they'll either accept or deny. You don't have to wait for the friend codes to sync up or anything anymore. I mean, the whole process is just so much smoother. I mean, this is what I think they should have done with the original Wii, had it focused more online, in my opinion. Once you start adding your friends, you can finally see when they're online and what games they're playing, but the system doesn't display any notification or anything to let you know exactly who comes online or goes offline and when they do it. You pretty much have to pause the game and pull up your friends list to check to see what they're doing or if they're online, and it can be a little bit annoying, but it's really not that big a deal to me. To my knowledge, there's really no way to send private messages or game invites to your friends. There might be a way to do so through their profile on Miiverse, but I haven't spent much time with that, and unless online games will offer game invites themselves, there's really no regular way to do it through the Wii U to my knowledge. There might be, but if there is, I just haven't tried it out yet. But then again, there aren't really many games out right now for Wii U that have online multiplayer, so I don't think this feature is available for use at the moment if it is there on the system. The only way I know of that you can talk to your friends on the system is through the application the Wii U Chat. And this utilizes the webcam and the microphone on the gamepad, and you pretty much do like video calls, like kind of like on Skype. It's actually pretty cool. I've tried it out a couple times with some of my friends, and it's really good quality and everything. Like, there's never really any lag or anything. There are a couple drops, but that's just connection. It's not really the system itself. And the only thing is that this is an entirely separate application, so you can't use it while playing a game at the same time or something. I'm kind of bummed out by that. I would have liked to have just been like playing Mario 3D World while talking to my friend through the microphone and everything, but you can't do that. It's pretty much you have to do one or the other. So that's kind of a bummer, but oh well, that's what we have Skype for, I guess. But I can see why this application is there. It's pretty much what We Speak should have been. If you wanted to chat with friends or family that lives far away or something, it's there, and it's pretty cool. I'd recommend checking it out. So, all in all, I'd say I'm having a blast with the Wii U so far. I only have a few games for it, and I haven't taken the time to really explore everything the Wii U can do yet, but what I have worked with, it works. It definitely works. The gamepad is a lot more comfortable than it looks. It's really something you have to try for yourself to fully understand why it works so well. The games I have played, that they've run perfectly. There haven't been any problems with crashing or freezing, or there haven't been any technical problems with the system. Visually, the HD looks really good for the games. The 1080p looks great. I think there's a lot of potential in the Wii U for other applications and everything. And overall, I'm just really liking the system a lot. I say I would recommend it, but whether or not you want to drop the $300 for it right now, that's up to you. If there are games out there right now, or there are games coming soon that you want, you can just as easily wait to get the Wii U. You don't have to get it right now. I mean, the thing isn't exactly hard to find in stores right now, unlike the Wii was. So you can get it later if you want to, but if you're curious about it like I was, and there's a game that you absolutely want to play for it, I'd say go for it. I'm sure eventually there will be another price drop down the road. I don't know when, but probably not for maybe 2 more years. I don't know, or anything like that. But for right now, I'd say it was worth my $300. Of course, this is all just my opinion. Please don't take anything I'm saying here as fact. I'm just giving my 2 cents and all. This is how it worked out for me when I'm playing the Wii U. You could just as easily have a different experience than I did. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really have to say about it. Like I said, this is not a full review or analysis or anything. I'm not trying to be super professional. This is just my impressions, what I thought of it when I first played it. So yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up since I do have a few more worlds to complete on Mario 3D World. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.